trip is brought to you by Poseidon Sport Fishing Tackles in Chara, Chennai. At Poseidon Sport Fishing Tackles in Chara, we don't just sell tackles, we actually educate our customers on how to maintain their tackle to make sure that it's actually lasting for a very long time and making sure it's actually good value for the money. So first thing most people do when they're actually come back from a fishing trip is they actually try and wash it and actually just put WD-40 on the rods and reels, which is a complete wrong thing to do. Actually, by washing your rods and reel in a wrong way, what you're actually going to do is actually you're going to do more damage to it than doing good. So we're actually going to go through how to actually maintain your rod and reel after every fishing trip, and in part 2 of this video we're going to go through on how to actually do your basic reel maintenance by opening all the components and just servicing it by yourself, because it's not going to be economical for sending the reel for service every single time. So maintaining it yourself for all the basic needs is the way to go. So the first thing, WD-40 is a no-go, because WD-40 is actually not designed for rods and reels. What it actually does, it actually removes the grease. Although it helps with anti-rust, it's not designed for the reels. The reels have got a lot of moving components, and it actually needs the grease and oil for it to be operating smoothly. So once you spray WD-40, it's going to start getting into all the sides and components of the reels, and it's actually going to degrease it. And you'll notice that over a period of time, it'll start making noise, and you'll notice that it's not as smooth as how it was earlier. So we'll go through how to actually clean it properly. So after every single fishing session, most people are probably lazy. They put their tackle away thinking they'll probably wash it the next day, and that never happens. So the best thing to do is to make it a routine. As soon as you come back from a fishing session, you go and clean your tackle. And irrespective of how expensive your tackle is, it has to be maintained for it to last a long time. If we have a Maruti or a Mercedes, they all need to be serviced, or it's not going to last long. As simple as that. So we'll go through the rod maintenance. So the rod maintenance, it's quite straightforward. It's easy. So always wash all your tackle in warm water, because what warm water does, it actually takes the salt away. If you notice that if you put a scoop of salt in warm water and a normal cold water, the one with the warm water, the salt will dissolve by itself. So what it does, it actually helps the salt dissolve. So wash using lukewarm water. Do not use very hot water, because it will damage your rods and reels. And use a loofah and use some mild bathing soap, and just go through your rods, through all the parts to remove the basic salt, and then use a brush. The important part is make sure that you're using a extra soft brush. You get hard, soft and extra soft. Try and get the extra soft, because you don't want to be too harsh on the guides and all that. So again, take any mild soap, preferably a baby soap, and just go through the guides, all the guides, and then again wash it in lukewarm water. Another thing a lot of people do while fishing is they actually put their hooks through the ceramics, which is a big no-no. The reason being, the ceramics are very sensitive and it can get scratched. And by putting the hooks here, the minute scratches which you do not notice will slowly start damaging a braided line as it's going through the guides. So make sure that you actually put your hooks in this part here and not into the actual ceramics in itself. So once you've washed your rod, just wipe it off with a dry cloth. And once you wipe it off with a dry cloth, you can either use a little bit of Vaseline, put it on the cloth, or you can use reel oil. Do not use vegetable oil or cooking oil, because vegetable oil and all these cooking oil can actually cause mold, and they'll slowly start growing fungus on your reels or rods. So it's not advisable to use them on your gear. So use Vaseline or reel oil, a couple of drops, and just go through your rod and then your guides. So it kind of creates like a protective film. So it's going to be like water repellent. So if some water splashes, it's going to actually help you to keep the water off your rod. So the rod maintenance was quite straightforward and easy. So I'll go through the reel maintenance. Reels are a little bit more complex because they've got a lot of moving parts. So when you're cleaning a reel, you have to make sure that you're actually covering the main components of the reel. So the first thing is make sure that you actually tighten the drag to the max. The reason being, you want to try and get the salt out rather than getting the salt in. By washing the reel without tightening the drag, you actually want to push the salt into the reel but not get them out. So make sure that it's completely tightened, and then wash it in lukewarm water. Probably either a running tap, or you can pour some warm water on top of the reel. Make sure that you do not use any powerful hose, because what it will do, it will actually push the salt in. So warm water, and again you can use some mild soap or baby soap and just go over the reel. And the main thing that you need to actually do on a reel is make sure that you actually clean the line roller, because what you'll notice is the line actually, as it goes through the line roller, it actually rotates and the salt actually accumulates in the sides, and if it sits there for a long time, it's actually going to start rusting. And when your line is going through your line roller, it's actually going to stop, and it's not going to have a smooth run, and in turn you might end up losing a big fish because the line is not peeling off the reel properly. So just make sure that you actually putting some soap and warm water and actually cleaning this bit here, and you can actually clean the other sides also. And you will also notice that you will get some salt buildup in all these areas here, here. So just use the brush and just slowly brush it off, and under running water, make sure you open and close it a couple of times, and then again just spin it at least for 30 seconds in warm water. So what this is going to do is just going to try and get all the salt off your reel. And once you've done that, just wipe it off, and again you can use a couple of drops of Vaseline or reel oil on a dry cloth and apply on it to create a coating on it, and then let it dry in open area. And very important thing to do is make sure that you actually loosen the drag again after it's completely dry. Do not let the reel be stored with full drag. The reason being, there's multiple drag washers, and what it's going to do, if you keep it tight, it's actually going to keep it all compressed, and over a period of time it will actually spoil your drag washers and it will need replacement. So make sure that once it's dry, you loosen the drag before storing the reel for the next time. And in part 2, we'll go through how to actually service the reel and maintaining it yourself.